Welcome to Compliance Sync. Today is October 10th, 2023. All right, I'll start screen sharing. And let's walk through the milestone board. Last one discussed for this week isn't on here, so I assume they're just all new items. Let's start with add projects call into compliance framework report on Nathan. Or am I looking at the wrong view?
No, you're looking at the right view. I'm just trying to remember what that was, to be honest.
Okay.
Are you able to open it up?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So just adding the associated projects to the column into that new report for the frameworks. Pretty simple update.
Let's see, the next one is
the comment. The last comment on that issue says that this issue is no longer needed. So we've not done this, right?
Let's see.
Thanks, Huzafa. You've triggered my memory now. Yes, was when it was assumed this was the old framework report, and we now are creating a new framework report, so this was not needed.
All right.
Thank you.
That's closed. Weird. Maybe it was the assignment that put it back on the board then for us. It was closed a while back. Yeah. Okay. Audit event enhancement for user profile update events. That was on J. Confidential, so we're not going to go into that. Rename framework tab to projects. This was
yes,
on you, Nate.
I do remember this one. So the current framework report has been renamed to the projects report as we're waiting, as we start building out the new compliance framework report. So this is just updating the tab for that.
All right. Then we have paginate adherence report list. That was on J. I'm assuming that was just to split this up here. Looks like it. All right. Then we have remove ellipsis from remove button for status checks. I did this, but most of the work was already done on a different MR from a different group. So it was just a small little update from me. Then we have follow-up for GCP destination loading on Nate.
Yes, so previously, now we have multiple destinations loading, so HTTP and GCP logging and other ones, third-party solutions coming. The loading would stop the loading after one of those types of destinations was loaded. So now the loading icon will keep there when there are other destinations being loaded in the background.
All right, next one is also on Unate, the HTTP streaming auto events combined computed properties.
Yes, so in our computer properties, now that HTTP streaming is at group and instance level, there was, I think, 30 odd instances of computer properties. So just combine them all into one computer prop. So it's just a bit of maintenance background work.
Yeah, I see now.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one is don't create IP restriction audit events when there is no change. That's on Huzafa.
Yep. So I just closed this today morning. I verified that this is not. I even added a comment there. Why is it not showing? That seems odd.
Okay.
Yeah. I do see it. Okay. Yeah. So So I verified we don't create duplicate audit events for this one. And since this was the last issue in this epic, I also went ahead and closed the epic. So
Nice.
thanks everyone for working on the epic.
Woohoo! That's awesome work. How long is, if you go to the epic, how many issues?
I guess more than 20 issues went there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice.
If you scroll to the top, you see, yeah, we had 27 issues and 49 grades. So that's awesome.
Nice.
Congrats, team.
All right. Then next we'll designing QA update. We're skipping today. Does anyone have anything to report on OKRs?
Planning issue?
Just a sec. I do have the increased audit event coverage on my name. And I haven't checked the exact numbers, but considering we only have like 2.5 weeks left at the end of the quarter or OKR quarter, I'm going to predict we're probably going to miss the exact target number of 30, just to update that. Unless we do a serious hackathon event. Yeah, but I'm predicting we're going to come short of that one. So just a heads up on that. Yes. So next is our planning issue. Let's just go from the top. We have compliance adherence report, MVC by Jay and Huzaifa.
Yeah. So I guess Jay rolled out the front end feature flag to 100%. So I believe the MVC is now released, even though we have a feature flag, but both of the flags are enabled globally. So all the ultimate groups should be able to see this on production.
All right.
And for the self-managed, this would get released in 16.5. Yes.
All right. I'm assuming the next one goes in line with that. Or is this above the MVC probably?
Yeah. This is like
Okay.
improvements to the MVC.
Okay. All right. SAML SSO auth. I'm still in the works of that. Had a bit of a direction change on some of the implementation details, but I'm still on track for that. The next one is on Harsimar for migrate audit events to ClickHouse. Do you have any updates on that for maybe Nate?
Yeah, just a quick one. The audit events model has been created and the EMR is in review, I believe. And we've got access to staging now to start working on the staging data transfer, how to get the audit events tables across and what's the best strategy there.
Nice. All right. Let's see what else we have. Retry failed external status checks. That's on J. Anyone have any updates on that?
I do know that the new pending status was added and that the only remaining thing was the new worker, but I don't know where the worker. So that's the one that's been completed and just waiting for verification. I think the other issue has the timeout.
Hmm. Yeah, it looks like it was blocked on the other one. Yeah. All right. Next is on me. That's the violation export. It has been verified and released to one of our test groups. And the plan this week is to roll it out to 25 and then to 50 to 75% by the end of the week. And yeah, try to get it into the milestone release on full. So next is default branch protection dropdown on RCMAR. Anyone have updates on that? We're going to skip. Streaming audit events to S3. That's on Josefa.
Yep. So I mean, from the GraphQL part, I mean, the technical thing is already merged. Like we do have a functionality behind a feature flag, which can emit streaming audit events to Amazon S3 at a group level. We don't have a way to create, like we don't have GraphQL APIs for creating, deleting, and everything. I'm working on it. At the moment, the GraphQL status is we do have an API to create the destinations. We have an API to list the destination that MR is in maintainer review, and I'm right now working on creating the APIs for updation and deletion. All of this is at a group level right now. We still haven't implemented anything on an instance level.
Yeah. All right. Then we have streaming audit events to Google Cloud logging.
So the update, the last GraphQL API MR for this, for updating the destinations, is under review and requires a backend maintainer review. That will get released by this milestone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. And we have improved, manage, edit compliant frameworks, MVC on Nate.
Yes, so we, as mentioned before, we've got the new tab created and the feature flag created in a very basic report behind that feature flag. And I guess that's all we really wanted to get done in this milestone, so we're on track.
Yes. All right. Then we have another one on the test streamed audit event filter by subgroup and project.
I'm currently working on this on the models part, and was facing some issues related to aspects, but now I'm about to finish it. And later I'll work on list, create APIs for group level. And after that, it is HTTP destination streaming audit events improvements, which is handling activation and deactivation of headers while streaming audit events to external destinations. So the last MR for that, for adding the active parameter to the creation of instance headers as well as group headers, is under review.
I guess that MR is assigned to you, Sam. Once you have done the review, please pass it over to me for maintainer review so that we can get this merged as quickly as possible.
Nate already informed me this
There
morning.
one more request I have. I think Harsima is not yet has not yet started. If you have any bandwidth, can you review another MR for updating the APIs for GCP instance destination?
Sure, I can.
So by that, compliance and maintainer review will be done too.
Please assign it and I'll do that.
Sure.
All right. Where were we? HTTP destination streaming audit events improvements. Also on Hitesh.
This I have discussed, Sam. This was the activation and deactivation.
Did I jump? Okay, sorry. Yes, then we have comprehensive instance level audit log. I'm counting that update as part of the OKR I mentioned earlier. So there's still work to do on that, but nothing that has been prioritized in the last week. And then we have increased EDE test coverage. Do you have any updates on that, perhaps, Nate? Otherwise, we'll skip.
No, nothing from me.
All right. Then we'll go to FYIs and questions. Nate, you have the first update.
Yeah, just a congrats to Huzaifa and Sam on their 2-year anniversaries, which came up recently. And also
Thanks.
shout out to Aaron on the 1-year anniversary as well. That came up this week. So awesome.
Nice. All right. I have 2 open issues that are more of discussion issues. The one is this here, a request for comments to evaluate if we should or could switch how we trigger audit events to use our event store, basically make it a pub/sub model. This was triggered for me by another engineering issue we have where the MR was talking about confabulating too many concerns into our services. So yeah, I think, yes, Harsim already provided some input on that. If anyone else wants to take a stab at it, feel free to do that. There was a second one I also opened. That is this one. The gist of it is to, it's not as big of a mind squeeze as that other one is to evaluate if we want to have all this redundant naming in our auditor classes, if we can just, this was triggered by a MR from Jay, where we notice where we have like the structure where we have audit push rules, and then we repeat push rules in our auditor name. It sort of feels redundant. And so my question there was, do we want to do a cleanup there and see if we can make those a little bit more straightforward or not? So yeah, input on those 2 issues. Async, please. Next one is on Nate. Quickly review for reaching impact and FF docs.
Yes. So if you're able to just show these 2 pages, I'll just talk through quickly.
Yeah.
So these were the 2 things that we've just been asked to discuss with all the groups. So reducing them, obviously we've had a few high severity incidents over the last few months. And so this was just to review this around reducing the impact of your work. So if it includes changes as listed there, wherever it was, high percentage of users, impact services, touching multiple areas of the application. And some of this does security, legal, and compliance consequences, then, looking at a rollout plan and using feature flags more specifically. So just wanted to bring this up as something that to remind everyone. And I think we even have a part on our own handbook page around using feature flags. So just to review and just make sure that that aligns with what we currently do, and if we need to update it at all, let's update it.
All right. It's the wrong page. Too many compliance things.
Yeah, that's a word that brings up a lot more stuff.
We'll find it some other time. But yes. Okay. Next one is Huzaifa. You mentioned a customer issue. It's confidential, so I don't know if we want to.
I'm not sure why this is confidential. Shouldn't be.
Yes, it is so far.
Just a second, just see why that one is.
Yeah.
Not sure who created that as a confidential. Anyway, we do have the issue which is actually not confidential, which is this one. I'll add it to the agenda. Yeah. So if you open this issue, so this was a tricky issue wherein the default compliance framework was not getting applied to new projects. and
Mhm.
we were unable to actually replicate this on any of our instances. So this started becoming a very tricky issue. So for investigation, I created a debug MR where I added a lot of debug logs at every step of this process in the code, and asked the customer to patch their instance with the custom MR with all the debug logs. So after they patched with the debugs log, what we found out was the we are using an admin bot user for applying the compliance framework, because we need an owner access of that group for applying the compliance framework for that group. Whereas any even a maintainer can create projects within a group. So for example, if I'm a maintainer in a group, I create a new project, then the default compliance framework should get added to that project, even though I'm not the owner of that project. So for that, we use the admin bot that we have, which is an administrator of that instance. So technically, it should have access to everything and should apply the framework. But that was still not getting applied. During investigation and during the logs, we found out that the administrator was not having access, like the permission, the place where we actually check for the permission if the user can apply the default, can apply a framework to that project or not. For that admin user, we were getting that as false, which consequently never applied the compliance framework. So that became a tricky thing. We were not sure why that is happening, but then Samir from support team debugged the issue and found the actual root cause. The issue was that the user had enabled admin mode. So this was something new to me. When we enable an admin mode in the instance setting, all the like all the administrators, they don't have pseudo access to everything. So you'll have to be part of a group or a project to actually be considered as an owner for that group. So even if you're an instant admin, you don't technically become an owner of that group. So that was the issue why the bot was not having the exact permission. So the workaround could be to actually add the bot to all the projects and groups of that instance, and then that would have worked for them. And that was the initial suggestion that we suggested to the user, and that fixed things. But then the correct fix was to bypass the current user mode. And we already have this documented in our development docs. Like if you're using an administrator for for places where it is like non-API or sidekicks where the user is not present, you can use the you can bypass the current admin mode. So that's what he did. Later on, I figured that even the existing specs that were written for that was not 100% accurate, because if you scroll down a bit on the R specs, we see on line 18, initially we were explicitly adding the admin bot as the owner, which should not have been required. So that's why we never caught the issue. So the moment I removed this, the spec started failing, which which resurfaced the issue that we were actually having on production. So in the first place, the spec was not correct, and that's why we overlooked. The second thing is, in the R specs, I figured out we have a line where we, by default, in tests, we have admin mode enabled. So all the admin users that you have on inspecs won't have access to anything. So that's the reason we stub application setting as admin mode by default for all the R specs. We explicitly whitelist some of the files where we don't do that. And I've explained all of this in one of the comments in the MR itself, like what all of this means and where it's defined. So I would suggest taking a look at this, because this was something new to me, and I mean, seems small, but had a great impact, like a big impact on one of our features. So all in all, I mean, the gist is, whenever using an admin user or an admin bot for any of the features, we should also be considering if admin mode is enabled on the instance, will my features still work, or should I bypass that? So like kind of one of the
Right.
gotchas that we might be running into, unless we
One thought that I'm having, whether uh, uh, was it intended at that time to add admin bot as the owner of each group or project?
no.
Maybe that was the intention. No.
No. I mean, I guess while writing the R specs, the spec might have been failing, and then we simply added the admin bot as the owner of that group, and then the spec started passing. So we were all happy and created the MR. So yeah.
All right. That's a good one to keep in mind.
Mhm.
And then the next we have here a compliance overview on Nate.
Yeah, this was just more of an FYI. So I've mentioned around the SEC govern growth development virtual team day that's coming up in November. So as part of that, all of the EMs have been asked to do a quick recording, less than 5 minutes long, of the priorities, challenges, and things that we're proud of. So I've done a quick 4-minute video, I think it is. So I just want to let the whole team have early access to that. I apologize in advance. I'm not a very good recorder, and especially at the 4-minute mark, it's a little bit long. A lot of ums and ahs, so I apologize in advance.
I have already watched it,
Alright.
and I saw. I mean, it was nice. I didn't find any issues. So great work.
Thanks. But yeah, that's
All
just
right.
the SEC day.
Nice. All right. With that, we'll stop the recording before the last bit. Wave goodbye, everyone.